If you're going to be on the street, you're going to do it the right way. We take an oath, and we're told straight out, you violate your oath, you could pay for it with your life. I've been through a lot. I don't know what stress is. It's just my normal life. You know, I spent 20 some odd years on the street. I did time in prison. Praise God, I'm going to heaven, according to my faith, but I'm not in a rush. My dad lived to 103 years old, and I want to pass him up, and I want a good quality of life. So I think, you know, the future is really in regenerative medicine.
I'm here with Michael Francis. Welcome to the Longevity Club podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So we'll take a little dive in. 49 years ago this week, I believe, you were inducted, would you say La Cosa Nostra? Is that how you say it, or?
Cosa Nostra, yeah, it was actually on October 31st, Halloween night, so it's be 49 years.
49 years.
And, you know, it's one of the reasons why I came down here, because after being in touch with Dan and just kind of talking to my wife and thinking about, you know, all that we've been through, you know, between life on the street, life in prison, life in general, you know, I said there's probably things inside my body that I'm not even aware of. You know, I wanted to get it checked out, so. And I'm very happy I did, especially after what I've seen this morning, which we can get into. Gosh, it's really eye-opening when you see the results of some of these things, really.
Yeah, people have no idea like what they're carrying around every day and just the years of what you absorb and take in, whether it's people, toxins, whatever.
Yeah.
You just carry that with you.
Well, we did the plasma exchange,
TP,
and then I was shown the plasma that was extracted from my body. And the color of it, I looked at it and I said, this was inside of me all of these years, you know, the toxins and the inflammations, the inflammatory material that's in there. It's got to take its toll at some point in time on you. So, you know, I was thrilled when I saw it. And the procedure was great, you know, it was very comfortable. Really no after effects for me at all. A little tired. But tomorrow I'm supposed to get a real burst of energy, and it's going to last for a while.
It might hit tonight. That's what happened to me. I was wired
Tonight.
all night. I felt like that they put in me. It was
Well, that's
amazing.
good, yeah. And then we got the stem cells, and that was painless. And that I'm really interested in. A lot of people have been talking to me about it. I have a partner that we're together 40 years, and he's had stem cell infusion, I think you call it, yeah. And he said, you know, it did wonders for him. And he had specific areas that he had it done in that are really helpful. So, but when Dan called me and he said, you know, what would you like done? And I said, well, I'm not really experienced in this. I said, but I have one want. I said, I don't really have any, you know, I've been healthy. Praise God for that, been healthy. I said, but my dad lived to 103 years old. And I want to pass him up, and I want a good quality of life. So I think, you know, the future is really in regenerative medicine. And if I can get a jump on it, I mean, I'm 73 years old. If I can add a few extra years to my life, quality of life, why not?
Yeah, we say it's putting the life in your years, not the years in your life. So it's
Yeah.
trying to get that and enjoy every bit of it you can.
You know, it's like I said, you know, I described, I went to the doctor once and I had a little condition, it was minor, but he said to me, this is normally caused by stress. Do you have a lot of stress? And I said, hey, doc, you know, I spent 20 some odd years on the street. I did time in prison. He knew my background. I said, I've been through a lot. I don't know what stress is. It's just my normal life. This is it. So maybe it's stress, maybe it's not, but I don't feel any different. And but you realize that it does take a toll on your body. There's no question. It has to. And so to feel, you know, comfortable that I'm helping myself in that regard, it's emotionally and mentally, it feels good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You were born into a set of circumstances, like you were raised in that world, in that life, so like never knew a different way.
No. Well, my dad was, you know, a powerful figure in Cosa Nostra. You know, he was an underboss of the family, but he didn't want that life for me, and I didn't want it originally either. I was an athlete. I was playing baseball in school. My idol was Mickey Mantle, as you can tell. I got all the Yankee garb on. My Yankees are going to the World Series.
There you go.
You know, I'm an avid sports fan, and I was going to be a doctor. I spent 2 years as a pre-med student, but then my father gets a 50-year prison sentence, and I was the oldest of my brothers and sisters, and I figured, hey, he's going to die in jail, you know, if I don't help him. And Joe Colombo, who was the boss of our family at that time, he kind of took me under his wing. I knew him well. And one thing led to another, and I said, Dad, if I don't help you out, you're going to die in here, you know? So school is not in it for me anymore, because we needed money for lawyers, you know, and I had to take care of my brothers and sisters, and it was a tough deal. So I said, look, I got to do what I got to do. And it was in a meeting in Leavenworth Penitentiary. We were in the visiting room, and he said to me, if you're going to be on the street, you're going to do it the right way. And he proposed me for membership in that life. This was around 1972. And 2.5 years or so, 72, 73, I was kind of a recruit, had to prove myself worthy, and then it happened Halloween night, 1975. Yeah.
And how old were you
Big
then?
night. I was 24.
And that's young for...
It was young for that time, because what happened, Tom, for about 20 years prior to that, since the 50s, they had an expression in all the families, all in New York, really nationwide, that the books were closed. They weren't bringing any new guys in. The only time they can bring a guy in is if somebody got killed in a family, or died, I should say, and they had to replace that person. But other than that, and it was for security reasons. But in the mid-70s, they opened up the books. And so they were bringing in a lot of new guys, and that's how, you know, I was, during that time, so the timing was good. Bad, whatever way you look at it. You know, normal people say, oh, it's bad, but, you know, the timing was good at that. So a couple of guys my age around that, but they're normally the sons of guys that were in there already, you know, that they proposed early, so.
So it's kind of like horses, you're bred into it and you got the pedigree to...
Well, you know, there's a lot of nepotism in that life, but the reason for that is they figure, you know, you want guys that are not going to betray you, they're part of the family. That's the whole concept, you know, loyalty and respect. So obviously there's a lot of nepotism, like Hollywood, you know?
Like everything.
Like everything, yeah.
I think it's all gone. It's like that
Exactly.
Nepo baby is now a term. Like it's everywhere in life.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like when I think of like your dad living to 103. In that world, like that's not longevity is not probably part of the deal.
No, Tom. Honestly, I don't know of anybody that lived to that age in that life in America for sure. It's not a life that's conducive to the old age at all. And I believe he was the oldest living made guy in America for sure. When he was released from prison after doing 40 years, he was in and out on parole violation. He kept going back. But he was released in 2007 at the age of 100. He was the oldest inmate in the federal system in America at the time of his release. And when he passed away at 103, he was the oldest living mob guy, again in America, but I believe in the world. I don't know of anybody that lived to that age in that life. And that's after doing 40 years in prison. So my dad was a strong, you know, mentally strong and physically he was in good health. My dad was a vitamin nut. I have to say, he would take 30, 35 vitamin pills a day. When we were kids, he would chase us around the house with cod liver oil. Yeah, and my brothers and sisters ran away, and I would stand there. I would always listen to him, and I would take it, but he was crazy. When he was in prison, he used to say to me, I got to get my vitamins. I said, Dad, I spoke to your case manager. They won't let him in. What do you want me to do? I said, you want me to sneak him in? No, 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 I don't want to get in trouble. I said, what do you want me to do? You know, if you can make a connection here, I'll get him into you. Yeah, that's all that bothered him, his vitamins. He didn't care about anything else. But we laughed at him, but he lived to 103, so there must have been something to it. I don't know.
Was he religious?
Not really. You know, we were brought up Catholic, obviously. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten right through high school. I was an altar boy, you know, but, you know, I didn't have a relationship with my faith, with the Lord, with Christ, like I do now. And my family didn't go to church on Sunday, you know, they didn't do any of that. So, but he believed in God, no question about it. You know, I had a lot of conversation with him after I became a Christian, born again, and you know, hopefully it sunk in, hopefully, because I love my dad, you know, and you know, for me, he was a good man, despite everything else.
Well,
but
he's your dad no matter what.
yeah, I love him. I love my father. He was a good person. He cared about people. He taught me well, you know, and I was a good listener. And he taught me well. He taught me how to navigate that life pretty well. And a lot of things I learned on the street, I was able to take with me and benefit from later on.
Did he believe in the life all the way to the end? Like he was.
You know, Tom, he did and he didn't. What happened? You know, on the side, he used to tell me, you know, this life is full of baloney, right? I said, Dad, I know. I said, but, you know, there's a certain code that we live by, and we try to live by that. Forget what everybody else does. And we spoke about that. Yeah. And he said, you're right. You got the right idea. Look, I had a lot of dear friends in that life, a lot of good guys. You know, it's the age-old question, Tom. Why do good people do bad things? You know, now in that life, there were some good guys. We did bad things. I was one of them. But you know, we take an oath, and we're told straight out, you violate your oath in certain ways, and we had rules. You could pay for it with your life. And your best friend might be the one that does it because the life is more important than anything. So my thinking at that time, we all have our eyes open. We all know the consequences. And we all know what we're supposed to do. Now, is that in a normal society, is that right? Not when the consequences could be death. But we all believe that. So even guys that I saw had a good heart and do good things, we did bad things. There's no question. Now, I'll be honest with you, we didn't have a lot of respect for the government back then because we knew what they were about. You know, so...
Did that change?
You know, I'll tell you how it changed. You never want to throw one blanket over everybody. That's not right. You know, there are good people, obviously. For me, though, the system has been corrupted to a point where we need a reset, a real reset. Because, you know, look, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it's all about money, power, and control. And people don't want to give it up. They don't want to give it up. I understand that. But that's not the oath you took.
Yeah.
You took the oath to take care of people, do things for the benefit of the country and for the people that elected you. It doesn't happen, though.
Yeah, and you look at people that, if you look at the salaries of what they're meant to make and you look at the life they're living, A and B don't add up to C.
No.
So it makes you scratch your head a little bit.
Absolutely. And who foots the bill for that? Taxpayers,
100%.
you know? So it's not right. I mean, you don't go into Congress as a blue collar, a middle class person, you know, and come out a multimillionaire. How's that happen?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. And I think, is it Scarface or whatever that line he's saying, like, you can point at me as I'm the bad guy, but you look at all these people that do all these other things. And I mean, I look at it, I talked with a gentleman, Chris Lindley, here with us the other day, and we talked about just food and big ag, big pharma. It's probably the greatest racket of all. And they're poisoning people every day. There's so many things happening. And now people are 20 years after they've been taking something are saying, well, this is what caused it. And something like you're doing down here with stem cells.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and Tom, I'm fortunate. My wife, her whole lifestyle has been nutrition and working out and all that. My 3 daughters are all nutritionists and personal trainers. So they watch what they eat and they keep me on the right track. But I was in the gym just a couple of weeks ago and I was listening to testimony from RFK Jr.
Yep.
about what they're putting in our foods. And I said, my God, I've been eating this my whole life. You know, I never really looked at labels. Now I'm looking at everything. And I'll tell you the other experience. I go to Europe. We go to Europe a couple of times a year. I eat what I want. If you're in Italy and you go on the menu, they tell you this one item is frozen. Everything else is fresh.
Yeah.
They tell you straight out, right? I'm telling you, eat 3 meals a day. I feel terrific. I don't gain a pound. I'm not
Probably lose
working
weight,
out.
maybe, if anything.
I lose weight. My wife told me, she said, I can't believe it. I lost 2 pounds. And we're eating, we're not working out. We're on vacation. And then you come here and, you know, you feel bloated and I hardly eat anything sometimes. And I feel like I ate, 2 steak dinners. So it's real. It's real. And that's why, that's another thing that motivated me to come here and see, hey, when I heard the plasma, exchange, I said, I want to see what's in my body. And like I said, when I saw that, I said, oh my gosh. I already showed it to 2 of my friends. I said, hey, I'm healthier than the both of you. Imagine what yours is going to look like. And they're already asking me, how do I get down there? What do I have to do? No, we got to take care of ourselves. You only got one shot at life, Tom. That's
No, 100%. And like I saw a thing the other day, they were holding up 2 cereals, like one that's available in Europe, the same Fruit Loops, one that's available in the States. The European one is bland colored. You can still see the colors. The one that from the States you can see from space.
Yes.
I mean, it's just all the colors, the dyes, the processed food, all the preservatives, all the things people have no idea. So like when you're talking about your plasma,
Yeah.
all of that's been fed into you and you don't know it. You know, that's the scary part, is like we're walking around in a world that we have no idea what the real dangers are.
It's very scary. I'm telling you, especially when you see it, like I did this morning. And my wife's was lighter than mine, so she's healthier than me in that regard. But no, I mean, I would encourage anybody and everybody to look, it's like I said, quality of life is everything. If you can do some small steps to maintain a better quality of life, why would you not do it? You know, look, I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord. Praise God, I'm going to heaven according to my faith. But I'm not in a rush. I want to stay here as long as the Lord lets me stay here. That's my feeling on it.
So when was the turning point for you that you kind of turned to God and realized, hey, this is...
You know, I had taken a plea on a big racketeering case. It was a fraud case. I was in the gasoline business, and I was basically defrauding the government out of tax on every gallon of gasoline. So I ended up taking a plea. My partner became a cooperating witness. And so I took a plea. I had a 10-year prison sentence. I had a $15 million restitution and $5 million in forfeitures. I gave up a lot of assets. And I married Camille, my wife, and she was 21 years old. I married her in July of '85, and I went to jail in December. We only married 3 or 4 months. And I did 5 years on that case. I was released. I was on parole 13 months, and the government did not leave me alone. I ended up violating my parole, and they threw me back in. They said for life. They were going to indict me on another case. They were trying to get me to cooperate.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. So they put me in solitary the first night, and they told me, you're never getting out of here. That's it. We're indicting you on. We got new witnesses. They gave me the whole route. They gave me 4 years on the violation, which was the maximum. So that first night in prison, you know, I'm a pretty confident guy, and I want to explain that because I have a YouTube channel. And I tell people there's a difference between confidence and arrogance.
100%.
You know that, Tom. I love to see confidence. I don't like arrogance, but I'm a confident guy. I believe in my abilities to get things done. And that night I said, I'm done. They took all my money because they had went into my bank. They took all my bank accounts. They went to my house with a search warrant, took everything, drove my car away. I said, I'm done. I mean, can't fight these cases with a public defender. I spent millions defending myself. So I said, my wife, she waited for me 5 years, 13 months on parole. We had 2 little babies. I said, I'm going to lose the girl I did all of this for. I really left the life because of her. And I said, I'm done. I'm finished. I was going to spend the rest of my life in this 6x8 cell. And it was a tough night. A prison guard walks by my cell and he opens a flap. He says, Francis, you okay? You don't look good. I said, get away from me. I don't want to see any of you guys tonight. Leave me alone. And he left and he came back about a minute later and he pushes a Bible through the slot on the door. My journey started that night, and for 3 years, it's like 29 months and 7 days in solitary. I had my wife send me in books on every faith. I wanted to study. I said, I'm dying in this cell. I want to know if there's a heaven and hell and if it's real, but I want to know. I want to know the truth. And I did research and study, and I just came out of there 100% believing in Christianity. And for the past 25 years, it's only been proven further to me. I give my testimony all over the world. I've written a bunch of books, and people are encouraged by it. And I think that's my calling in life. Never thought I was going to do anything like that, but who knows, right?
Hey, life is funny how twists and turns and where it goes. You just, same thing with me. I got injured end of my career. I thought that's it. I'm never going to be able to ride horses again. I didn't have an education. I left school when I was 14. I knew nothing about anything else.
Yeah.
Led me down some paths that long kind of winded road, but it brought me here.
Yeah.
And the treatment here changed my life.
See that?
And gave me a purpose, and I felt like this is where I left Ireland when I was 17. I never felt like I was home in the States. I wasn't raised there. The first, and when I go home to Ireland, I'm kind of a stranger.
Really?
Yeah, I was 27 years in the States, and the world changes. When I first came to Costa Rica, I was like, wow, it's amazing. I did my treatment, and I was like, I'm home. This is where I want to be.
Okay.
Just
it's a winding road, and we don't know what, twists and turns, and I believe God has a plan for all of our lives, and one day we figure it out. That's it. But the interesting thing with me, Tom, I got to tell you, the night I got straightened out, that's what we call it, straightened out, 49 years ago, there were 6 of us. I'm the only one alive. They're all dead, those 5. And some of them were murdered. It's a tough life. And to show you how blessed I am, Fortune magazine in 1986, they wrote a huge article, 50 biggest and most wealthy and powerful mob bosses in the country. And they featured 6 of us out of the 50. I was one of the 6. And they actually had a chart with the 50 of us on there according to rank and wealth and power. So I'm number 18 on this silly list. It was ridiculous, right? I don't know what they made it up. Yeah, they didn't ask for our tax returns, right? So, but it sold a lot of magazines. It was a front page deal. So I was number 18. I was the youngest guy on the list. I was 5 behind Gotti at the time. He wasn't boss yet at that point. But you know what's amazing about that list? Out of the list of 50, 48 of them are dead. Number 49, I believe, might get out of prison. He's in his 90s now. He's been in prison for 35 years. And I'm the only one alive and free. So I would have never thought that. But when God has a plan and a purpose for you, he's going to see it through.
That's amazing. And almost 50 years ago, you started one life. You came here to RMI to start a new one.
Yeah, now another. So, hey, I believe from everything I'm hearing and my conversations, in the next 10 years or so, they may figure out, lifespan and be able to give us another 10, 15, 20 years. So why not take it?
100%.
Again, quality of life. Why not take it? So it's important to me. I got 7 kids. I got 7 grandchildren. And I'm going to get more. They're pouring them onto me now. So I want to enjoy them all. Why
Good
not?
Italian family.
Yes.
Like us, the Irish.
Yes. Irish, Italian, Mexican. We're all big families.
All known for it, yeah.
But that's what it's all about, right? Really, when you cut to the chase, it's what it's all about.
That's it, and being there for these starts of these amazing journeys.
Yeah. Well, I got friends now. It's amazing how many guys that I'm telling them coming down here, and they're all like waiting with bated breath. Tell us, what do you think of the facility and so on and so forth, because they feel the same way as I do. And these are all well-to-do guys, and they've had good lives, and they've earned good money, and they got good stuff going on. But I said, hey, decision is yours. You want to grab an extra few years? You got an ailment? Why not? It works.
Come take care of it. The funniest thing is, we do a lot of these with guys that come in and we'll chat. It's when people don't know what's ahead, you see, it's a little bit of a different interview. But when guys have return guys and guys have been here 2 or 3 times, you can see the excitement and like this a different light and understanding because it hit them and they're like, wow, this works.
I can imagine.
6 months later, you're going to be like, oh my God, or 3 months later. For me, it was pretty much immediate, but it's really cool to see, to look back in these and have tapes and be like,
oh yeah,
I'll see you in this one, but I'll see you in the next one.
Because look, it's all about quality of life. When you have ailments and things that I've seen so many people struggle through ailments, and I'm 73 years, I'm around, I've seen a lot. And man, if you can conquer that and feel better, why not?
Well, you came to the right place.
Yeah, I think so. So far, I'm excited for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're getting the stem cells. They say, what problem do you have, Michael, that we can isolate and do? And I said, well, here's my wish. I'm not very flexible, and I have little issues with my neck, bothers me. I think it's from golf. As you cure that and give me an extra 50 yards on my golf thing, I'll be back every 3 months.
Change my handicap and I'm in.
I'm in. So that, a little bit of my back. Backs are so funny, Tom. You probably know this. You could be perfect. You wake up and all of a sudden you can't get out of bed. You don't know why it happened. You didn't do anything different, but it hurts. And it's debilitating in a way. Sometimes it takes me, I got to jump in the shower and put hot water in, and okay, I'm straightening it out. But who wants that at all?
And it's the fear of it coming back again, because you're like, if I do something, it limits everything you do in life.
Yeah. And sometimes you could do a little twist like that, and all of a sudden you throw your back out. And I know my daughter had back surgery at a young age. She was 30 years old. She had back surgery because she exercises so much. So she may be a candidate to come down here also, yeah.
Yeah, we would love that. I mean, I think that's the beauty of here is that we know what we can do today, and that's amazing. Mm-hmm. But when you talk to like Dr. G and Victor and the team here, you know what's coming. That's really, really exciting. Like there's what we don't know is
oh yeah,
exciting.
And you know what I'm impressed with? The fact that your laboratory is here too. Everything is in one location, so you're not sending things out and then having them come back and being concerned about, is this the quality that we want? Yeah. So that was very reaffirming to me and to my wife. My wife does all the research. She does.
She's the boss now?
Oh, well, I was telling Dan, I said my wife's in command until I'm in command. Okay. That's how it goes in our family. Yeah, you're the boss until I become the boss. So, like she was deciding we're going to get this facial treatment done, and she didn't want to go under the anesthesia. But I said it's twilight. I've been under that when I had a colonoscopy. It's not. And she said, well, if I don't do the facial, I can get the injections. And I said, you're not doing that without anesthesia, because you may get 5 or 6 or 7 and it hurts, and I'm not letting you go through that.
No.
So either you do nothing or you do it all.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, I'll do it all. So we're going to do that tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, we're looking forward to being part of your journey and this being the start of a really cool relationship.
Well, listen, I appreciate it, and I really thank all your staff. Has been wonderful. I mean it. Very accommodating, and we feel like we're at home here. So, and I get to see this beautiful country. I haven't really explored it yet, but I'm looking forward to that. So maybe I'll be a regular. Great.
Michael, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.